Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to SYNAC's webinar on the new features that are being released in Microsoft Dynamics 365. So as always, this webinar is listen only, but you have the ability to chat any questions into the chat area of Teams, and I will go through and answer any questions that come through. We will also send a recording of this video once it's completed to you. So if you found it valuable, you can share it with your colleagues and they can also watch it at another time. And I assure you, there are a lot of updates that have just come out or are coming out soon in Dynamics that you're going to be really excited to see. And I'm going to go through those with you today. Give me a second so I can go ahead and share my screen and we'll get right into this. All right, so here we are in my demo environment of Dynamics 365. And as you know, Microsoft releases their main updates twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. And because Microsoft has so many customers throughout the world, the updates end up going out on kind of a rolling basis. So you may see some of these features now in your system. I have been in most of your systems and I do see a lot of these features available now. Or if you're not seeing some of them, they should be rolling into your environment in the next week or so. I am also going to talk about a couple of features that I know are coming, that I have not seen in the system yet, just to make you aware. All right, so the first change that you're probably going to notice is your search bar up in your main toolbar at the top. This used to be a magnifying glass over on the right-hand side, and now it's moved to a big search bar up here at the top. And this is a global search, right? So it's going to search everything in the database. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and type in E into my search bar, right? And I hit return and it's going to bring up my search results, right? The nice thing here is it's searching the entire database. So it's bringing me back accounts, opportunities, contacts, leads, even activities such as phone calls and tasks. And I can go ahead and use any of these tabs up here to filter that search. Come back, here are all the results. And if you notice, there's also a filter over here that you can slide out on the right-hand side. And this will allow you to say, filter records by a specific owner to then narrow down this search to get to the items that you want. Or you could go ahead and clear that and get to all of the items, and then you narrow the search based on entity here. Okay. So some changes now, your search is much more visible and gives you a little bit more of a robust searching option than it did previously. All right, so one of the next features that we have that's going to be a change to all of you is in defaulting list views. So here you'll see I'm in my active accounts list view. We still have our downward caret here that we're used to. But previously, we used to have a little pin next to all of the different list views within our environment. And we would set the pin to default which list view we go to when we go into this section of Dynamics. So now this has changed and the pins have disappeared, right? And say if I go over to active accounts now, the way to set my default view is down here at the bottom of my list view. Set current view as my default. When I do that, then active accounts will be my default view. So if I navigate over to say opportunities, and I come back to the account section, my default view stays with active accounts. Okay, so a lot of times my active accounts might be your default, but if you do want to change it, right? The way to do it is navigate to the view you want to be your default, hit that downward arrow, and set the current view as your default. All right, so a couple of previews of things that are coming that are not in the new release yet, but I anticipate seeing probably in the next month or so is some things to do with accessibility in the list views. One of them is, as you can see today, you know that if you want to select multiple items, you'll just kind of come over to this checkbox column here, right? And select multiple items. Well, this is actually going to change and it will be a radio button. So it will be much more visible that there is something to actually do and click in that view. Okay, so anticipate seeing shortly a little circle there that you would then go ahead and select the circle to select multiple records at once. While I'm selecting multiple records, I am going to go ahead and talk about a new feature, which is with the bulk edit. So as you know, if you select multiple records at once, you can come up to the command bar and choose edit, and you can update all of those records with the same updated value. Well, now this has an updated look and feel to it, so that the view more closely resembles your actual form for the account or the contact or whatever records you are updating. So say, for example, I wanted to give them all, say, a parent account, right? So I could go through and select it here and update all of these records at once. You can see here, this looks very much like the regular record fields, and it even has those tabs across the top that would contain additional information. Now, when I hit save, you're going to see it's running through, updating all three of those records all at once with the same information. And once it's done updating, there we go. Oh, got a little error. I am in a demo database, so I'm not sure what I have going on in there. Normally, you will not get an error when you do a bulk record update. But the point of it in this webinar is that you do, in that bulk edit, have a new look and feel that looks more similar to the unified interface that you're used to. Okay. One of the other cool new features that you'll find within a list view is this button right here. This button here allows you to add additional columns to the view that you're in, as well as move them around. So say, for example, I wanted to add, say, the created on date of this record, and maybe the customer size. I could go and select those fields. I can then drag and move them wherever I want them to go. And then I can go ahead and hit supply. And you go ahead and you get to your list view, right? Now you'll see that customer size column is there, as well as the created on date. I can also from there filter this view too. If, say, I wanted to add some additional criteria of maybe, owner is, maybe just contains data instead of equals everyone. I get a larger list view. So you have some capabilities to adjust these list views by using these column options. Oops. Let's go back there. By using these column options and the filtering. It's just not like me right now. Let's go over to content. Well, that's not allowing me to continue to show you this. Obviously, some of these new features still have a little bit of kinks in it, so we need to figure that out. But this is great functionality. The other thing that will then happen is you'll be able to then create that view as a personal view for yourself. I'm going to go in and show another feature right now. Now, another feature that's really handy to have that I'm really excited about is within the lookup fields. So right now I'm going to remove account name from this record, right? And so now I've got this lookup field. So we're used to seeing kind of our lookup here, right? Where it will give me some records and I could go and start typing, right? And it will then, you know, kind of segment the list and I could find what I'm looking for. Well, now there's this new button, Advanced Lookup. What this does is in any lookup field, it is now bringing up a more robust search, right? So I can then go through and say, maybe look at all active accounts and search for them, right? And then bring up the record that I'm looking for, take a look at it, and then go ahead and add it here. So I find this functionality here, right? Save this for a second. Of being able to hit this lookup and do this advanced lookup where I can then, you know, do some searching, see more information about the record, even click on it to make sure it's the right one I'm looking for, and then go ahead and select it. So really exciting new feature there. Another exciting new feature when you're on a form is this button right here. This is actually going to pop the record out into a new window. And while it's doing that, I'll just reduce this a little bit. It actually brought me back to my list view. So for those of you who like to multitask and keep things on separate screens, say, this little button here when you're on a record to pop it out into a new screen is super handy, and it brings you back to your list view so you could go ahead and continue to navigate. So this little pop-out button is super handy. Hi. Now, another thing that is coming that I haven't seen come out yet, again, related to accessibility, is some changes here. As you know, anything in blue is a hyperlink within Dynamics. Well, it's getting a little bit of an enhancement, and these hyperlinks, such as in, you know, the contact's name or the email or the company name, are actually not only going to be blue, but they're going to be underlined so that it's much more obvious that that is a hyperlink and it's going to take you to another record. So look out for those changes on the list views with those radio buttons, and then some enhancements to the accessibility and showing you underlines for the hyperlinks to make those more obvious. Another item that's going to be coming out in the next few months that isn't quite out yet, but I want you guys to all anticipate and be ready for, is some changes to your left-hand navigation. One of the things that they're going to be doing is adding collapsible sections for things like my work, customers, sales, and collateral. Very similar to the downward caret here for recent and pinned. These different sections will also have those downward carets and will be accessible and will be collapsible so that you won't necessarily have to scroll all the way down to get to your different sections. You'll just have to expand them out to get to the different entities that you need to get to. So be aware that that is coming out. I would say here in the next month or so, you'll see it into your system. All right, so I just want to quickly recap our big changes here that we should be aware of is this global search has moved into the middle here, right? And, you know, gives us that ability to have a more robust searching experience and then filter by the different the different entities, right, to go ahead and narrow your search. In terms of your list views, right, here we are going to have some changes with the hyperlinks being underlined, as well as these checkboxes changing to radio buttons. As I'm doing that, our bulk editor has become more unified into the unified interface and looks more similar to the forms that we're used to, so that we can quickly find the information that we want to update. We also have those additional capabilities of having the ability to, if it's working properly, I might have to switch systems, to have that ability to add columns here to your view. I might actually just go ahead and do that. As I come over here, just so I can show you, I can go ahead and add columns. Say I'll add job title right here. Oh, this is going error 2. It's not liking me. All right, I'm switching back over here. Clearly, there's still some bugs. I might actually bring that up to Microsoft. Let me just look through my list really quickly to see if I forgot anything. We talked about the filtering. We talked about the search. You know, another one, again, is in these lookups, having that capability for that advanced lookup so you can find, you know, the account or the record more easily is super important. Remember when you're in your list views to set your default list view, right? That's now down here at the bottom to set your current view as your default. And when you go into a record, this button here to open that record into a new window is really, really great. And then slated for January 2022, Dynamics is doing a lot of integration with Teams. There's going to be capabilities to be able to have Teams chats within records in Dynamics, to be able to send information over, to have Teams calling integration. So some really exciting features of, you know, kind of taking that Microsoft ecosystem and bringing them together and, you know, kind of harnessing Teams and Dynamics together to really give you, you know, this really great experience, you know, throughout all of the apps that you use. Another feature that's going to be coming out that I'm super interested in, something that's kind of called toast notifications. So a lot of you like to get alerts for one thing. It happened in the system, right? Maybe a new opportunity has been created or closed, or, you know, maybe a new case has been assigned to you. And typically we're either doing this through views or dashboards, but now there's going to be something called toast notifications. There'll actually be kind of like a little notification icon up here where you could get alerts, right? Similar to kind of like maybe your Teams alerts or something. So when you log into Dynamics, you'll have a list of notifications of things that have happened within the system that you're interested in. So definitely some things that we'll be able to look at and use to enhance your system. So I hope that you found some of the information that I've shared with you today useful. And I hope that you're excited about using some of these new features. Now, with any new features, sometimes there's a few little bugs that need to be worked out, as we kind of experienced with that list view, you know, adding the columns and stuff. So I'm definitely going to look into it a little bit more to find out why that was getting a little bit buggy. And we'll certainly follow up and make sure, you know, I give you guys some more information about how to do that. Because I think in a lot of situations, it'll be really handy for you to be able to quickly adjust the list view as you need and save it as a personal view for yourself. All right, so before I wrap up, I just looked at my notes. I've got a couple things that I just want to go over with you. So As Microsoft brings out new features and functionalities, they like to get rid of features and functionality as well. There are a couple things that are going away. One we've already talked about, which is that pin, right, on the list views. And we've now changed it to this resetting of the default view. Another thing that is going away that I anticipate when we see those radio buttons show up here is the ABC bar down here at the bottom of the screen. You know, today you can say, click on a letter and it will filter your list by whatever, you know, kind of field you're sorted on, right, by those letters. Unfortunately, this is going away, and you will, if you want to, you know, say sort by a particular letter on, say, the full name, you will need to, you know, kind of do a filter by and say, you know, begins with, you know, S, and apply that in order to do that same alphabet kind of filtering. So be aware that is going to disappear. The other thing that is that has gone away that you might notice is there used to be a toolbar down here at the bottom, which sometimes gave you things like the modified by date or the date that the record was created, as well as there was a save button down here in the bottom corner. This toolbar has also gone away. Again, in the efforts to have a more responsive database and be able to work with, you know, all different types of browsers and devices, this bottom toolbar has gone away. So if you were like me and you liked to save records with that little tiny save button in the bottom right-hand corner, I very well could have shown you how to do that. You're now going to have to get used to using this toolbar, this save button up in the command bar at the top in order to save stuff. So, you know, just be aware that, you know, those items are going away and will be changing. So now I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go take a look and see if we have any questions. And if you do have any questions for me, feel free to go ahead and chat them in. All right, everyone. Thank you for taking the time today. You know, I like to keep these to about 20 minutes so that you can get back to, you know, doing what you do. But I thought it was really important that we took a little bit of time today to talk about some of these changes that either you've already seen in the last couple of weeks within Dynamics, or that you are going to be seeing here any day now. As you know, Microsoft continues to make improvements and enhancements to the platform. And you know, if you are interested in some of the new features that I talked about, especially with some of that Teams integration, we will be, you know, learning more about that in the coming months. And you know, feel free to reach out so we can get working with you and your team on, you know, best leveraging Dynamics and the Microsoft ecosystem for your business. If you guys have any other questions or want to review any materials, we will be sending you this video. And as always, as a Synact all-inclusive customer, you can reach out to our support team at any time and ask any questions, or we can hop on a call with you and review anything that you'd like. Have a great day, everyone, and I look forward to working with you soon.